Jay here for Stretford, Paddock, and this is the press conference reaction. Joining me is my co-host, Ronaldo Brown. Feels different. We're not doing tier 1 at the minute, are we? It's
Not
usually
yet,
me and you.
not yet anyway.
Not yet, but we will be doing that
No
later
spoilers.
on. No spoilers, yeah, no spoiler alert. As you may have guessed, this is a reaction to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference. He's been speaking ahead of the Brighton game, doing his weekly press conference that he does for all the Premier League games, and he's been giving us updates on certain players, on any transfers. Not much of an update, I'm not going to lie, but we'll get into that in a minute. First of all, he was speaking about the players and the training. He said they've been training well, and the work on the training ground has been good. Obviously, disappointing for the first game, wasn't it, against Crystal Palace? So there's a bit of pressure on now to get things back on track in the Premier League.
Yeah, obviously, you want to see a reaction to it. It's one of those where there were kind of controversy surrounding Lindelof and whether we might obviously replace him this weekend because he weren't too good last weekend. And obviously, in the press conference, he did kind of suggest
that
there could be a centre-half change, but it depends if you
will.
will. Why is my mic always in the wrong place?
Being instructed there from producer Cam.
Cam with instructions.
Yeah, you mentioned
rare.
there Eric Bailly. He said, Solskjaer said, I think last season proved to us how we can defend at our best last week. It wasn't fantastic. We conceded sloppy goals, but I think our defensive record from last season with Eric and Harry, how good a partnership they were. Do you think he's saying there that Bailly, because obviously, you know, Bailly's played in the Cup. Do you think that he's saying that Bailly's now sort of... I mean, he's mentioned him as well. He goes on to say, Eric is fit again, a big plus. Looking forward to seeing him develop and play more games. We've been waiting for him to be fit and play more regularly. So, do you think that is a sort of a hint that maybe Eric Bailly could be?
Yeah, but that's been a suggestion in basically Bailly's United career. The main reason why he's not been playing is because he's not been fit. And when he does play, he usually does play well. But sometimes you don't know what you're going to get from him. Sometimes he's a little bit rash and a bit erratic. But as you've seen against Luton, I know it's only Luton, he was pretty imperious on that day, wasn't he?
Great word. He was pretty imperious. I'm impressed. Guys, get involved in the comments. Don't forget to hit like as well. Someone's asking, is there any solution to getting rid of Woodward and Judge? Is there any board of directors that have an answer to? Surely there is a higher authority
Find
than
out where they
Woodward.
live.
No, we're not going to do that. We're not advising that at all. Sick of Solskjaer now and his yes man attitude, says Wayne Marco. He's too nice and doesn't seem to have a ruthless streak in him. It's like he's afraid to hurt the Deadwood players like Phil Jones, etc.'s feelings. I disagree slightly. Do you remember the Everton game last season when we got beat 4-0? And he said some of these players won't be here next season. Yeah. You could see he was angry. And some of these players weren't here next season. He's got rid of quite a few players, let's not forget Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, without messing about. I mean, Fellaini went straight away without even getting a game, I don't think, for him. The likes of Sanchez, even Lukaku, he got rid of. Players that, you know, big money signings, big wages, he didn't care about that. So, I do think he has a ruthless streak in him. He does come across in his press conferences, by and large, and his interviews as a nice guy. But
I think he's got the right balance. And obviously, we're not behind closed doors.
So?
We're not behind closed doors. We don't know how ruthless he actually is. But I think when he needs to be, he can be, by all accounts. I know Gary Neville did mention that obviously Solskjaer does come across a bit happy-go-lucky, but he does have a little bit of an edge to him when he does need it.
If you can survive that Norwegian winter, you've got a bit of steel to you, trust me. On the fringe players, we're talking about the fringe players, he says, you know, players are happy when they win well and win games. I am too. It's not my job to keep them happy. It's to pick players, get results, and up to them to be fit and ready when called upon. So he sort of
sounds pretty ruthless to me.
That to me sounds like, I mean, you can't really disagree with the sentiment there. You know, it's not my job to keep everyone happy. I'm picking players that are, you know, when they're ready. When I pick them, they've just got to make sure they're ready, which you sort of agree with that, wouldn't you?
Basically. And on the defensive side, it's a bit weird, though, when you look at the defensive issues at United, because last season we did pretty much have a decent, well, I think decent's a bit of an understatement, actually, in terms of defensive record. But I think it's just more an eye test thing. When you visually look at us, we might not concede goals every game and concede goals regularly all the time, but when you look at it, we don't look like that formidable defensive outfit that our stats might suggest. And when you're looking at the game on the weekend, we just look like we're always capable of conceding a goal. It's like Maguire and Lindelof. It's just, you don't have 100% confidence in him. And obviously, no De Gea behind him, not playing at his best, kind of did aid that a little bit, because I know when your keeper's making mistakes, it sometimes makes you a little bit more shaky as a defender. But it doesn't... I want to see Bayer getting that. I think that there's not enough dynamism. I said that quite often in the paper talk between them two centre-halves.
I know what you mean, and the troubling thing for me, I think you've hit the nail on the head. It's not necessarily the number of goals we concede; it's the nature of the goals. There always seems to be like a comedy of errors, don't there?
Yeah,
one player to the next player. Lindelof will make a mistake. Maguire can't get over quick enough to cover for him, and then you might even have De Gea making a bit of a fumble of it or whatever. Someone saying here, I think it's Ahmed Ibrahim saying Lingard said he has had a hairdryer by Ole. When he was talking in the podcast, Lingard said that. We saw that, didn't we? You remember against City, where Ole went mad at Lingard, and he said, one more of them and you're off. And I've edited that because he swore at him as well. Do you remember? It went viral, didn't it? The sort of the clip of it. So I think
Lingard's warranted that.
Yeah, I think that's right. Ross Murphy says, Ole is ruthless. It's just that the board doesn't get rid of them for him. Rohan Sheehy says, Bailly's a bit wild with his challenges, hence all his challenges. He really puts his body on the line, similar to Jones, but obviously better quality than Jones. And he says, let's just get this transfer window over with. With Bailly, does that worry slightly? There's a fine line between sort of enthusiasm and rashness. Do you know what I mean? And it worries me sometimes. I love Eric Bailly. He's one of my favourite players.
No, he's likeable, isn't it?
Sometimes it's like... He sort of flies in, and it scares me a little bit. Not because I'm
not quite.
Is he going to hurt the player? He's going to hurt himself.
He's not like the Rojo mode where you think every challenge
Rojo's lunatic.
is a pen in red. But everybody he's not the ordinary. He doesn't do the conventional, does he? He's a bit even when he's on the ball. Sometimes he's the type of guy where.
Sorry to interrupt. Sorry, I've just been. Can you just twist that around a little bit, Cam? Sorry.
What do you call them lists again?
Polls.
If you don't know,
you don't ask, you don't know. You seem to got that bit wrong, didn't you? Right. Is that over on Twitter?
I'm on a roll.
We've done a poll. I can't even get my words out now. It's all going wrong here. Apologies. Who starts alongside Maguire tomorrow against Brighton? Is it Lindelof? Is it Bailly? Other comment who? Let us know. It's only just gone up, so I've not got any results for you yet. Let us know who you think, and that's a poll. That's
a poll.
How do you not know that? You're like half mate.
Nah,
you should not be down with this sort of
polls
thing.
can be many things. Isn't it?
They can.
It's not single.
Other things that descended into fastness, much like United. Solskjaer's also said, I've said many times, I'm very confident in my players, and if and when something happens with ins and outs, this is the bit we're wanting to know, we'll update you. In football, you can't predict too much, but for me, we're just working on getting better. I mean, I don't expect Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to come out and say, we're about to sign Alex Telles, Jadon Sancho, and Upamecano.
No, but sometimes
that's very that's just nothing, and it's meaningless, that really, isn't it?
It is.
If I'm being honest. Sorry, we said the transfer update, but the update is there isn't much of one.
Because you have
seen more, I'll get into it in a minute.
But you have seen managers in press conferences kind of say, that's the player we're looking at. Yeah, we're trying to get some in reinforcements or whatever. But he's been a bit discreet when it comes to the transfers, and I don't know whether that's to do with the higher ups and their kind of the way that they're dealing with transfers in a way.
People always say about Ole, he's a yes man. We had it in the comments there. Someone earlier was saying in the comments. Do get involved in the comments as well, guys. And don't forget to hit like as well. Someone was saying that he's a yes man. People have always said that Jose held the board to account. I don't know how true that is. You know, Jose for 2 seasons didn't really say a lot. In one summer, he hinted that he wasn't happy, and he more or less hinted with his team selection, didn't he? He started when we wanted a defender. He started playing 3 at the back, and one of them was a midfielder, which was his way of sort of saying to the board, "I'm not happy."
Yeah.
And also some of his comments in pre-season about only having kids and whatnot. So, but I always wonder about how critical can Ole be of the board? I'd love him to criticise him and criticise the owners especially. But then you think, if he's in that job and he does that, is he just going to get sacked? So
he can't be critical of the board.
If he went out and said this board's terrible, I'm not getting the signings I want.
Just shoot himself in the foot.
Yeah, and the Glazers are parasites. He's not going to be in his job much longer. So I know a lot of us want to see him speak out a bit more, but I always wonder how realistic that is.
But think about it. That's his occupation. That's his job, is managing Man United. If us as fans are as frustrated as we are with the board, when basically how productive the board is could basically determine whether he loses his job or not, then obviously if we're frustrated, he's probably going to be even more frustrated than that.
Absolutely.
But whether he says it or not is a different story. Obviously, he's not going to come out and be open about it because That's
Yeah, I mean, he has regular meetings
yeah,
with Woodward, so he might be venting those frustrations to Woodward. I think him and Mickey Phelan meet with Woodward once a week, or it might be once every other week. Someone was saying, I've just lost his name here, forgive me, I think it's XOH, says Tuanzebe and Bailly should be our centre-back partners. I feel they complement each other the best. I think one thing we need to be pretty sort of sure about, or we can be sure about, sorry, and the reason we've done it and worded it the way we have on our poll is Harry Maguire ain't getting dropped.
No,
he ain't. Right?
80 mil
you might
on
think
the bench.
Harry Maguire is the worst player you've ever seen in your life. He's the captain. He cost 80 mil, as Ronaldo just pointed out. He's not getting dropped.
He's not getting dropped.
It's not happening, is it?
Did he play pretty much nearly?
He played
every Premier League game.
Yeah, he played every game last season. Now, you might not like him, but Ole spent 80 million on him and made him captain. Ole would look pretty idiotic if he spent all that money and then dropped him. Someone's saying we need to talk into Mike. Sorry, we're trying our best. Yes, McTominay at centre-back, that's one of the things that Ole did there. Also on, I don't know why I read that out. Also on an update on the midfield, because the big question that's sort of been doing the rounds is, can Pogba, Bruno and Donny van de Beek play together as a midfield three? Ole's addressed that. He said, can Bruno, Pogba and Van de Beek play together? I think good players can play well tomorrow, but also Scott, Nemanja and Fred are good players, so competition for places. We'll see lots of combinations, different systems, so we'll see them together at some point. So we are going to see...
that was so ambiguous as well. It's like,
I mean, yeah, he's not sort of said yes, like, they can, but he has sort of, well, he has in a way.
Just said good players can play together, which is what people have said.
I quite like that though.
Yeah.
There's lots of, so we'll see them together at some point. So
whenever I feel like it, basically.
It might be 10 minutes at the end of a 4-0. Well, if we get a 4-0 win, towards the end of a 4-0 win, but you know, he's not sort of saying no on that idea of playing those three together, because you would expect them at some point to play together, wouldn't you?
No, you would do, but it is the most attacking midfield three you can imagine. It's not exactly greatly balanced, because obviously the little I've seen of Donny van de Beek, he does seem to be very much that heavily more on the attacking side of a midfielder, the same way that Bruno and Pogba are. So if you've got a midfield three of them, it's got to be against opposition that you know you're going to have the ball mostly, and you need to break them down. You need that bit of creativity. But if a lot of the games in the Premier League, because nearly every game is a difficult game in the Premier League, starting them three, it's a bit of a risk, isn't it?
Do you see?
I think.
Do you see Van de Beek? I mean, I think Steve might have mentioned it, saying he can almost, not as good as or identical to, but almost do a Carrick type of role by reading the game, maybe like that style of defensive midfield and picking out his passes. Do you think that could work for him, or do you not think he's got that in his locker?
I don't know. You got to see it first. Obviously, comparing him to Carrick and that, it's a difficult job.
I know. Yeah, that is a bit of a.
It's
hiding.
If you've got a certain natural play style at that point in your career, it's you can obviously adapt and change. But when you're coming over, especially to a new team, you want to play your game.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. You do want to play a game. Get involved in the comments. Let us know what you think about. Obviously, we've got a poll running there. Can I just have a look at the results on Twitter so far of the poll? The poll. Bailly is on. Is that 82%? My eyesight is
92.
92%.
Yeah.
So Bailly, well over.
It's 93 if you round up.
He's on. I think 8%, and then 1%. Is it for other? So yeah, not many not many Victor Lindelof fans. Sorry, in the comments. So most people wanting to see Eric Bailly start against Brighton. He had it. Wasn't it Brighton where everyone had a stinker, including Bailly? I might be wrong, but I think it was a couple of seasons ago where it was like Lindelof and Bailly were absolutely terrible. I'm not saying
that the Amex, isn't it?
Yeah.
It was away.
On other centre-backs, Chris Smalling, Ollie said that obviously Chris Smalling links heavily with the move to Roma. Apparently they came in with a bid of around 12 million. United said no to that, won 20 million, so there's sort of a bit of a stalemate there. Solskjaer's been talking about that. He said different things need to happen. So let's wait and see if there's change. Let's see what happens, and when the transfer window closes, and what happens to Chris. I mean, I'd like to see Smalling move on. I think he deserves a move. He's obviously not going to get a game. He's fifth choice is he centre back at the minute. Played a lot of games for Manchester United. Had a great season at Roma last season. I think he deserves his move. Obviously, don't want to get our pants pulled down, but if we can get, I mean, is it worth really not selling him just for that sort of 5 or 6 million?
Nah, if he's Deadwood, then just sell him. What's the point? Obviously, we've had an issue with getting rid of Deadwood. Obviously, we have got rid of some, but obviously we've got the likes of Pereira and Lingard still on the books that we're trying to get rid of. If you've got a club that's offering for Smalling, just take it.
Guys, get involved in the comments. Let you know.
He's not going to play.
Yep. Do you think Smalling needs to go? Do you think Bailly needs to play over Lindelof? Do you think? I mean, some people are saying it. Harry Maguire should be dropped. I mean, I don't think he will. I don't think
they're not going to drop Maguire.
But some people are saying he's lazy and he's not good enough, and that sort of thing. Also on the Palace game, which obviously was a bit of a disastrous start. Ollie's speaking about that. He says, "I wasn't happy with the game against Palace." Join the fucking club. We weren't not ready to play at intensity we needed. The runs weren't there. How much of that? I don't want to go into Palace too much, but we'll talk about it briefly. Do you put down to a lack of a proper pre-season?
That it probably is. That I'd put that a lot down to the fact that they didn't have a proper pre-season.
We had that game against Villa, didn't we? Which was a bit of a non-event.
And again, I don't know, man. Can you use that much as?
I know that's what I'm. You know better than I do. You've been in those situations.
You just need to
yourself. Sorry,
because maybe Palace were a bit more up for it. Obviously, they had the game the previous week. We started a bit late. Maybe it was a bit flat. That might have been a situation. But then, can you look at Ole and think, is that on the coaching staff as well to get them ready for it, to get them up? And obviously, he's saying I didn't have a pre-season, but you knew that going into the season that it was going to be short between the end of the last season and this. So you should have adjusted and adapted it to the fact that the players would still be ready. So I don't know. I think it's just a flat performance. I think it was just a terrible performance, and I want to stop talking about it and hopefully beat Brighton tomorrow.
We absolutely dissected that, and now you get when United lose. If looks could kill, Ole will be a dead man after United lose. When
I weren't even on that watch along.
Thank God for that. No offense.
I think I've got to go and watch alongs when it's like we're playing.
Well, don't know, because then if we don't get a result, if we get like an easy game and we lose, then you'll be even worse. Jal Malmin says, I would play Smalling next to Maguire and see how they play together. Maybe I just don't see it happening with Smalling. I'll be honest with you. I don't think he's going to get the opportunity to play alongside Harry Maguire. I think you could play Smalling against alongside Maguire against Brighton. I think you could probably do a job. I don't know if they'd be as good as Lindelof or as Eric Bailly, but I just don't see it happening at all. A few people saying about Ted Mengi, he's the future. We don't need to bring in someone saying earlier, I missed who it was, apologies, but they're saying we don't need to. Here it is. Ruben Bateman says, buying a centre-back could maybe stifle Mengi's progress now he's being promoted to the first team. I think Ted Mengi's probably at least a season or two away, from being a first team player. You wouldn't expect to see him playing in the Premier League week in, week out.
Yeah, baptism of fire. That.
Yeah.
Especially as a centre-half, it's definitely a position that's very experience-reliant. So it's one of those positions where it's difficult to come in as a youngster and kind of hit the ground running straight away.
I think so. Ray Kareem, sorry to interrupt you, says, treat Mengi like Greenwood, don't expect too much this season. I like the way we handled Mason Greenwood. I think Ole deserves credit for it last season because he brought him in, didn't he, gradually. Early on in the season, we didn't see a lot of Mason Greenwood, and towards the end, we saw him practically every game. And I think he progressed in a positive way in the way we want to see it, and we know he's an amazing talent.
I remember the loan refusal as well.
Yeah.
So, I remember when everyone's... a large majority of United fans at the time were like, Greenwood going on loan, and then Solskjaer was like, he's definitely staying next season. And then season after, rest is history. We saw that's the kind of season he had.
Well, you've been in that situation. What does that do as a young player when you get a manager sort of saying no? Because we saw it the other way around with Pereira, didn't we? Where Jose almost was like, he's going on loan, and in one season, I think the first season, not the second. But what does that do?
That's basically
as a young player when you've got your manager saying he's not going anywhere, we want him here. Bit of a confidence boost.
No, it's 100% a confidence boost. That could make or break a career, really, whether the manager likes you or not. You get a lot of quality players that are young or in reserves or in a bunch of clubs, and they might be with a manager that likes them and backs them, and they get that confidence to kind of kick on and improve. And then another manager might come in and have obviously different ideas for you, and then before you know it, you're out of the club. Obviously, when Mourinho was there, we could see how he was kind of almost anti Pogba and Martial. I think he almost shopping them both.
Well, there was rumours that he wanted to get rid of Martial, and he was overruled. I don't know how true those rumours are. Someone, you have to speak to someone who knows a lot more than I do about what the inner machinations of Manchester United. But there was a lot of reports that, if I think if Jose had got his way, it might have even been Martial out and Willian in. Which
I think he was very pro Willian.
Yeah, I think the thing with Jose is he wanted players that were ready, didn't he? Like
that's him. He doesn't do the youngsters. He likes the
Ibrahimovic's. He didn't. He doesn't want players that.
He likes the veterans, the peak players.
Because that's his managerial career. He's gone to Chelsea and Inter and Real Madrid and teams like that where you give him maybe 1 or 2 seasons, and if you don't win anything, you're out. So it's no good for him planning long term. And that was why perhaps it wasn't the best fit Manchester United, where we've always had that reliance on youth, and the youth has been a big part of it, and that sort of that historic way of bringing through youngsters, and he was never going to do that, really, Jose. I was at the press conference.
He's never been that type.
when he was announced, and he had this piece of paper saying, you know how many youngsters I've brought through during my career, and I think it was 45, but it was a bit of a nonsense.
So someone comment then, I don't like Martial up front. I'm still. But I'm still one of those people that still thinks his best position is left wing.
Yeah,
left inside forward position, because that's generally where, even when he plays up front, he gets a lot of his goals. He kind of drifts out to that left inside channel, and that's where he's most dangerous. Yeah. So what's his name? I'm not beginning to pronounce that.
Omoni says, I don't like Martial up front. I mean, he's had a great season though, hasn't he? Up front, 23 goals.
He's done well up front, but
I don't think any of them.
The only part of that is I agree. I think he's better, kind of leftish.
Yeah,
of the three.
I get where you're coming from. I think the problem is that Marcus is also better on the left.
And so Mason's
a striker.
Apparently, Daniel James is also better on the left. So
I don't think anyone's moving to accommodate Daniel James. I'm being brutally honest, but I get where you're coming from. Yeah. Also, Solskjaer was talking about Palace again. Sorry, I know you don't like bringing it up, but he said after the restart in June and July, we took big strides. Palace was disappointing, but I'm still confident. We need more imagination than last week. Well, he didn't say last week. We need more imagination than the previous game. That is for sure.
Do you not see Palace's tweet though?
Go on.
I was annoyed by it. I think after the game, they've unbeaten in Manchester in how long?
Oh, right.
And he put Manchester is red and blue.
Ah, right. Okay, I get that. Because they beat City as well in the last. It's a
bit cheeky
season.
though.
I don't know. Does anyone mind on that? Oh, we've got a super chat here as well. Shushant Dar says the higher ups are perfectly building a scenario where Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is set up to fail. The only way we get rid of the owners or Woodward/Judge is when the sponsors start pulling.
What currency is that?
It's what, sorry?
How did you know that?
Someone over in India. Probably.
Cam googled it.
I don't know. Over on the poll, we asked who starts alongside Maguire tomorrow. Let's put it this way: it'll take an absolute cavalier charge for Victor Lindelof to win this poll after the way it started. Victor Lindelof is currently on 5.4%.
Good sample size as well.
Yeah. And this is 4,000 votes as well. So, like Ronaldo said there, we've had quite a few people getting involved. Eric Bailly is on 92.7%. And other, comment who, is on 1.8%.
Wonder who the others are.
So let's have a look who the others are.
See the comments.
I'll try and bring it up.
Is that too much to ask?
I'll see what I mean. Others are less than 2%, so there's not many. No, I think they're just more or less. Most of the comments seem to be. Someone's put Phil Jones. I'm guessing that's a joke. No disrespect to Phil Jones, but someone else has put my nan.
Whenever someone says no disrespect, it just means disrespect.
Yeah,
really.
but no, it's not. No, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. I've added the no disrespect
with a disclaimer
to Phil
on
Jones
it
when I'm reading that out.
I'm going to disrespect him.
Yeah, I stuck up for Phil Jones when it was Twitter turned on him, didn't they? The actual Twitter account. Tuan Zabi, someone saying. Play Smalling, FFS. So that seems quite serious. Yeah, play Smalling. Tuan Zabe. I doubt it. Smalling's on his way out. Tuan Zabe. I mean, there's still that injury question mark, isn't there, with Axel? I like Axel Tuan Zabe. I think he's a great player. And I wanted to see a lot more of him last season. He had a great season.
Yeah, amazing season at Villa, isn't it? So,
but there's that big question mark. He is back in training. So he should hopefully be sort of nearly ready. But I mean, it's just one of them, innit? It's, how far off match fitness is he and how far down the pecking order is he? Have to wait and see on that one.
Just got to wait and see.
Yeah, guys, do get involved in the comments. Going to start wrapping it up shortly. Let us know who you think should be partnering Harry Maguire against Brighton. Is it a back three? We've not even asked that question, really, because Ollie's done that in the past. I know we've had Luke Shaw as part of a back three. Some people think even maybe Wan-Bissaka would be better as part of a back three. You're not having that one?
No, I'm not having that.
Fair enough.
I'm not having that. Short and simple. I think 4-3-3 is the way to go.
You like 4-3-3?
Yes, the way we...
I mean, if you do have a back three, then you've got to work out how you're going to fit everyone in terms of, like...
Basically, you change to a back three, then you've got to adjust the rest of the team, basically. But I don't know, what would your back three formation be in terms of personnel?
Could
off your head?
Off the top of my head? Off my head. I'd be tempted off my head, off my bald head. He's having a dig.
No pun intended.
Hey, of course there wasn't. I don't know. I mean, if you go 4-3-4-3 and with Pogba and Bruno in the middle, and then 2 wing backs, say you had Brandon Williams and Aaron Wan-Bissaka as your wing backs.
I thought you said Aaron Wan-Bissaka was like.
All right, no, I've said some people did. I didn't say I did.
Okay, go
I
on.
Listened.
All right.
Bit rude.
All right.
Right,
I've got us off your head.
If you had a back three, he keeps going with this, doesn't he? Hey, I used to have it when I was his age. It goes very quickly. If I had a back three, I'd be like, I don't know, say you had Shaw, Bailly. In fact, my back three would probably be Bailly, Lindelof and Maguire.
Okay.
And then my wing backs would probably be
Shaw and
Aaron Wan-Bissaka, maybe Brandon, depending on what mood I'm in.
Would you not go? Would you not do 3-5-2? So the 3 in the middle.
Usually strikers though, you're gonna have to drop one of the
Rashford and Martial.
So you're dropping Mason. That's what I mean, man. It's difficult, isn't it? It's no easy options.
Nah, these are good problems though.
Someone else is saying play 4-4-2, best formation. It's all gone out the window a little bit, 4-4-2, isn't it? What are you giggling at? Producer Cam's laughing his head off here, and I'm a bit worried.
Yeah.
Someone else has said I prefer 4-4. What? I think they mean 4-4-2 or 4-1-3-2. For formation Sir Alex Ferguson used to get us to treble winners. Yeah, it's sort of died a little bit, those formations. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. There is an argument to be made that Mason Greenwood is a striker. He should maybe be playing alongside Anthony Martial as a striker, or I don't know, you like seeing Martial on the left. So I don't know. Maybe Ole will have to have a think about that one if he is going to accommodate everyone, because we do seem to have options, but we need more. We need new signings. And if you missed what I said earlier, in terms of signings, there wasn't much of an update, if I'm being brutally honest. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer maybe more or less sort of saying that he's confident in the players he's got, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. I'm just trying to try and find the exact quote actually just before we wrap up. Can't find it now. Oh yeah. He's just sort of saying that on the fringe players, he was talking about keeping them happy, and it's not his job to keep them happy. And how if they want to play, they've just got to keep themselves fit, sort of thing. And he didn't really give much of an update when he says even when something happens with ins and outs, we'll update you. In football, you can't predict too much, but for me, we're just working on getting better. So he's not going to come out and say we're signing Alex Telles and Jadon Sancho today, but not much of an update there. And on Chris Smalling, again, not much of an update. He was sort of saying that, if I can find it again, forgive me. I've got it somewhere. Yeah, he was saying different things need to happen, so let's wait and see if there's that change. So again, Smalling to Roma, we're still waiting to hear. Transfers coming in, transfers going out, we're still waiting to hear. And whether it's going to be Eric Bailly or Victor Lindelof partnering Harry Maguire, we're still waiting to see. According to our poll, 92% of you want to see Eric Bailly rather than Victor Lindelof. So let's see if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer agrees. Actually, we just had an update as well from Solskjaer. Well, just something just popped up there. He also said on Tuan Zabi, we were talking about Tuan Zabi. He's getting
right
closer.
On cue.
Yeah, right on cue. He's getting closer to training with the team. He's on the grass, and after the international break, he should be fine.
I hope he's on the grass.
Yeah. It's always a bonus when the players are playing on the grass. Yeah. But we know where he's coming from, so he's not too far off. Guys, don't forget as well to hit like, and do get involved in the comments. I know we're going to wrap this up, but do give us a like and a share, and don't forget to hit subscribe if you're not subscribing already. We'll have loads coming up over the next few days. We're going to have House and McClellan Uncensored. Me and Ronaldo will be back later on this, well, I was going to say this evening, but later on this afternoon with the Tier 1 Transfer Podcast. Also, Joe will have his late night live, and we'll be having a preview for the Brighton game. And then tomorrow we'll have the watch along, the fan cams, the live review, all that stuff that you know and love on Stretford Paddock. I've been Jay. You've been Ronaldo. This has been the press conference reaction. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.